Officers around midnight tonight were called to about 9900 East 22nd Place to a shots fired where a homeowner, his residence was burglarized. He found the suspect inside the residence and fired one shot, and at the time he didn't know if he had hit the suspect or not, but he had fled the scene after dropping his wallet.
And so what happened after that?
So once we get the suspect's information, we put it out to officers. We set up a perimeter. Tulsa Police K-9 and the helicopter responded. We had a bystander from one of the other news outlets flag us down and say that there was a black male walking on 21st Street. Officers responded over to that area, saw who they believed was the suspect because we had his ID and his physical descriptors. When they turned around on the suspect, they noticed that he was bleeding from the chest.
And then you had to go through the process to get him into custody, right?
That's correct. So we do see that he's hurt, so we start IMSA for a gunshot wound, but when officers address him, he's immediately aggressive towards those officers and non-compliant. Officers set up an arrest team, kept giving the suspects commands to get on the ground. He was non-compliant and aggressive. We used pepper balls on the individual, still didn't comply, started reaching into his pants. We deployed a launcher to the suspect with no success, and K-9 warnings were given and the K-9 was deployed at that point. And then the officers approached the suspect, and one officer was bit by the suspect. He spit blood into another officer's face, continued to struggle with officers, and then was ultimately taken into custody.
So this suspect in particular gave you guys a handful tonight.
He did, yeah. He definitely appears to be under the influence of some sort of substance. None of the force applications that we used against him seemed to bother him at all.
So this is more of a classic having to go up level of force.
Yeah, absolutely. We gave him multiple opportunities to comply, went several minutes with no compliance and just continued to be verbally aggressive, challenging officers. And so we just kind of worked our way through the force options and ultimately had to use the dog.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like